I call you Sophia? Yeah.
No, it's Sophia, like the movie
Oh,
actress.
well, yeah.
Sophia,
Well, I
like
am
the
I am
movie
so
Sophia.
whoa.
Go ahead.
So Sophia.
Yeah, it's Sophia. It's Stewart, like Jimmy Stewart with a T. And Sophia, I got both of their names, and they're my
So
favorite actors and actresses.
all
You
right.
know,
All right.
yeah.
Okay. Well, so you've got some vague sort of connection. You got vague interest in the movie world. Yeah.
Well, I got deeper than that because your king over there of England, King James Stewart, his daughter was named Sophia Stewart.
Now, just so you know, your friend when he
Did you know
worked,
that? The
yeah,
Scottish?
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
If I want to annoy the Scottish, I call them Scotch. They don't like that.
Right, but I'm just saying, yes, your Scottish cousins or whatever.
Yeah.
It goes way back. The King, King James, and Charles Stewart and James Stewart, and their name was
Yeah.
spelled exactly like mine. With the French version of it came later on, Stuart.
Oh, we're right.
You
That's the
know,
French version, the Stewart. Stewart.
that's right.
As
Stewart
opposed
is
to
but
Stewart. There's
that's
Stewart and
right.
Stewart.
Yeah, but Stewart with the T is the correct, and the French people couldn't say the Stewart, so they did their own French version of it. And some of the kings and relatives used the Stuart, but of course, it was Stewart.
That
Sorry to give
sounds
you some
good.
of your history, but I'm very good at history.
Well, this is
And
what we all want to know. This is what we all want to know. I mean, this is the whole thing. Right. I think we're going to call this Basis 96. My background is basically I've been looking into actual making of cyborgs in Britain based on German technology in the 19 during World War II. And then we find they were making program generated life forms, and then they progressed up to non human cyborg units. Have you heard anything like that?
no, but I'm the one that started all of this stuff, and I can go back in 1980 and tell you I'm a visionary seer. And I was talking about a microchipped clone, naked without shame, cyborg, wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed. And no one had ever seen any of that because they were still doing the visionary H.G. Wells's old iron
Okay.
clankety
Okay.
clank.
Well,
Yeah, all of this
let's.
metal robots.
Okay. My name is Miles. Welcome, Sophia, to the Basis Project, Basis 96. Now,
Thank you.
you just to let people know who haven't seen the other 4,000 interviews, you've got some idea about some kind of movie called The Matrix, and you've got also some kind of connection with a thing called the Terminator series. And there are some people who were very unkind about something you wrote down, and they made a bit of money from it, and you're not happy about that, but you've got some very good news. So tell us, Sophia, what it's all
Well,
about.
I'm quite happy. I don't know where you get that from that I'm not
Well, you
happy
would have been
because I'm
unhappy
quite
earlier.
no, I would have never been unhappy. I wrote a script and a book that was adapted into the Matrix and Terminator movie franchises. The people that are claiming they wrote this work have nothing, including no copyrights. And I wrote this work in 1980 while I was at USC Film School. And I have a degree in journalism, a double major in law and psychology because I studied to be a lawyer and a doctor. But I was always a journalist from the grade school,
Okay, cutting to the chase,
visionary.
how did you, what other kind of work have you written, and then where did you get the idea of this
Well, I
stuff?
was already working for television in 1978 and 79, Channel 13. I'm a New Yorker from New York. I worked with Oscar award winning producer Perry Miller Dado. And I also worked for the studios in 1980. I was working for Columbia Pictures on the same lot as Warner Brothers. So my dream, my vision, because I'm a visionary, a polymath like Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci, I saw what the future was going to be like 30 some years before it actually took place. And when you read the book and the script, you see that. Just like lots of visionary writers, and you're very familiar with some of them, H.G. Wells, J.R. Tolkien, just tons of phenomenal writers out there that are visionaries.
So, what did you envisage? What was it?
Well,
What got
the
this out?
Terminator End Time Revelations is the prequels to the Matrix. What I visualized was the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. So my story was born that a second coming would come, that the Christ conscious would come, because in Revelations it said that he would come back. And I visualized what it would be like for him to come back, born of a woman, like the first time in the Bible. But this time he's coming back because man has started to create his own children. And these children are lifelike. They don't look like old metal clankety clank that Gene Roddenberry and some of the other science fiction, Ray Bradbury, Harlan Ellison, all these people are talking about old metal clankety clank. No, it's a naked microchipped clone cyborg time traveling from the future because he's heard the oracle's prophecy that a baby is going to be born, and this baby is going to destroy the machines when they enslave mankind. So that's how it was born in me. So this is why you see the Terminator coming through the burning blue portal. He's time traveling. And he comes naked without shame because we all come in through the matrix. Matrix is a Latin word for the woman's womb. We all come through the womb naked. We don't come with any clothes on. And when we leave out of here, we leave out naked. In other words, we decay and go back to the dirt that we came from because the mother ate from the dirt. So that's how it was born in me. Because JC, John Connors, Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. And Neo is an anagram for the one, Neone. And Christ, John the Revelator, is the only one that called Christ the one. So, God's children versus man's children. Man was jealous of God's three-dimensional beings that came out of the matrix, the Latin word for the woman's womb. They have a soul, they have a body, and they have a spirit. But man created soulless children, soulless beings, test tube babies, clones, petri dish babies, artificial inseminated babies. But they're soulless and one-dimensional amoebas. They could create the bodies, but they couldn't create the souls.
They could create a look-alike.
Well, that's a body. That's a clone. If you look at 60 Minutes, where you see the polo player cheating the other polo players, because he used to win all the polo matches, and look this up on 60 Minutes on YouTube, the first of him cloning his horse died, and he took some DNA to a scientist and had him to clone 100 and some copies of his horse, and he wins all of the polo matches. How about that? Cheating the other people.
So those
Did you ever
horses,
see that
those
episode?
no, I didn't.
Go ahead.
Explain if I may or may not have, but this is this is truly visionary because what's happening now is right up what's happening that what you talked about.
Oh, yeah, because see, you never read my Third Eye Matrix book, and I could have sent you a copy of it, and the continuation of the Matrix is Matrix 4. And once you read the work and you see that, because I created the graphics, the special effects, the characters, the concept, the theme, the makings of the Matrix, all of this was created by me in 1980. In fact, I'm in the news. I've already made the newspaper in 1981. I'm in the news in 1979 talking about roots. And there's a picture of me. And like I told you, I already was working for television studios. And I worked in Dick Barris's office, Vice President Dick Barris, Columbia Pictures. And he and the producer, Brandon Cahill, He used to let me come in on all of their meetings. And he knew that I was an aspiring screenwriter. And he gave me three first draft scripts to practice on, to use, to learn from. And one of them was From Here to Eternity with Burt Lancaster and Deborah Kerr. I got the first draft script
Wow.
in my possession now. Yeah.
So, how did it come that you were to write the script for the Terminator and the Matrix? And what
Well, I wrote
happened
it.
that you lost that, and somebody else
Well,
made the movies of it, and you
well,
have this
I
legal
didn't. I didn't
situation?
lose anything. No, no, no. I don't have a legal thing. It's all been resolved. I
Okay.
didn't lose anything. You can't lose your property just because somebody steal it. If somebody steal your car, you don't lose it. It's still yours. They have to be prosecuted and pay restitution or pay for it, but it's never lost. And what happened was when I was at USC, I was inspired by God to write this work. Now, I saw Star Wars and I said, wow, Lucas is writing about the dark side, how Satan fell from the light to the dark side. And I thought that was very interesting because no one had ever put Satan's point of view, like Darth Vader, the devil, the adversarial, they never put his point of view on the screen ever. So I thought about, well, what about the second coming of the Christ? Revelation said that the Christ would come back, and what would be happening when he came back in the future? So I wrote the script in the book, and I was looking for George Lucas at 20th Century Fox because in the movie credit, it said that Lucas was working with Fox. I didn't know it was his work. It just showed that he was the director of the work. So when I sent it over there, Susan Mesbach, a vice president, got hold of my script and my book. She took it to Paramount, where she caught up with Gail Ann Hurd, David Matten, Valerie Red, and James Cameron. And they went over to Roger Corman. And of course, on the May the 12th, um, Gail Ann Hurd created this shale dummy company called Pacific Western Production, which is an alter ego of her. And that's how they stole the script in the book. They put it under what you call a constructive trust. A constructive trust is when somebody takes somebody's property, put it under a dummy company, but without the signature of the owner. That's what makes it stolen. They have no signature. And it's stolen copyrighted work because I had three copyrights: 81, 83, and 84. Terminator didn't come out until October the 26th, 1984.
So why would they feel like to just sort of go ahead and get away with a thing like that?
They didn't get away with it. They've been paying to stay out of jail, like Al Capone, like Bertie Madoff, like Whitey Bulger. Whitey Bulger had his brother was a senator, and his best friend was a FBI director. You do recall that, don't you? That Al Capone was playing the police commissioner, and he would call up Al and say, "You know what, Al? We're gonna bust a couple of your places. Make sure that you're not there, because we have to make the public believe we're doing our job."
Yeah.
So these criminals have been paying off for 38 years to Hillary Clinton and the Clinton foundations. And I did put in their payoffs finally into the courts because I have a RICO case right now that I just won on them in Nevada.
So the Clintons are in here. My God. So
Yeah, well, the Clintons are involved. A lot of people paid the Clintons pay off. That's why everybody wanted Hillary to become the next president so they could continue committing crimes against the people, the public, and public opinion matters. And they thought it was going to last forever. But God says everything must change. Nothing can remain the same. You can't keep going for 20 or 30 years and then your time is up. And as you can see, a lot of people's times are up. I mean, look at Bertie Madoff. He stole billions of dollars, millions and billions of dollars. And everybody, all the rich people from the rich, they were complaining the same way I went to the FBI and they validated the theft. The Department of Justice validated the theft. All I was waiting for, because I won the court case in Utah and this one in Nevada for theft, but I won that validated me that I was the owner and the creator in Utah in 2014, almost 5 years ago. But it's a media blackout and a cover up. So that's why you didn't know. Everything that you're talking about is stuff you didn't read on the internet. Garbage. That's
So,
all that is.
what I want to figure out is how did they feel that they could get away with this? Because this corruption thing would just last forever and ever, or what?
Well, the payoffs, because you got to realize Al Capone paid for a long time. And you know what put him in jail? His little CPA got up on the witness stand and he put him there and told the government that was prosecuting him, our federal government here, that Al didn't make any money from prohibition and racketeering and prostitution and drug trade and blah, blah, blah. That Al really had these legitimate companies and he made this money. And what happened? They said, okay, if he has these legitimate companies, did he pay taxes? Say he killed a lot of people, he did a lot of bad things, but guess he went to jail, died in jail of syphilis, was never getting out. The same way with Bertie Madoff. He got 150 years, he's 65 years old, 150 years, he's never going to come out. Think about that. Whitey Bulger, he was a snitch. His brother was a senator. His best friend, an FBI director that killed somebody, they put him in prison. And he went on the lam for a number of years. And then what did they do? They catch him in Santa Monica and put him in prison, and somebody killed him for snitching. Now look at the ending to these people. John Gotti, he killed a lot of people, racketeering. He goes into the prison. He dies of cancer, never getting out. So what does it benefit them? Like God says in the scripture, what does it benefit one to gain the world and lose their souls?
Exactly.
And no one ever gets away. Either divine justice catch up with you, or man's law catch up with you. Take your choice.
I
But you're
think,
not getting away.
yeah. So I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic to see you so well, so focused, and you've won.
Yes, and let me tell you about this case I just won. Do you know they cheated in the Utah court case, and I won two default judgments in that court case,
Uh,
signed by two
I mean, for the
different
sake of the
judges.
recording, we're talking March 2019. Is that right?
March 29th on what?
It's just from the point of view of a recording or people watching this later. It's March 2019, and
Oh yeah, it's
yeah,
March. It's March the 13th,
yeah.
2019. Yes, that's correct. But I was saying that in Utah, in the case, the 2014 case, I won two default judgment, one for 150 million, and the other one for the attorney fees over almost a $500,000 in attorney fees.
You're
You
lucky
know.
to, and you're happy with well to get all that back. I mean, it's. I just find it amazing that the scale of this, of doing this, has is so immense that they could get away with it, and it's taken this length of time to for you to recover that, and you're able to do Matrix 4. Is that happening? Or
Well, I've been able to do anything I want. I've been selling Matrix and Terminator for years. Selling Matrix and Terminator, those are derivatives. That's just like if went into the hospital and I had these babies, and I say I had two or three babies, and somebody kidnapped the babies. That's not going to stop me from getting a birth certificate for them. The government has to issue it to me because I'm the mother. So I own the copyrights to the derivative. These people don't own any copyrights, and they've never written anything. I've written several books. You can Google the books. Go on Google and Google Sophia Stewart, and you'll see several of my books on Google. They buy from around the world. Matrix 4 is the continuation of the work. My fans have been reading that work for going on 9 years, since 2010. Now you're reading this stuff on the internet, so all of that's garbage. You need to ask me questions because you're going to mislead or misrepresent a fact with the fans or the people. Because I'm simply telling you everything they paid trolls to confuse the people.
okay,
Because everybody knows that if you get caught, the people are not going to support you. They're not going to buy from you. They are totally disgusted because they create work to give to the studios so their work can be bought. Now, Matrix 4 is a bidding war going on. Warner Brothers himself offered me $30 million for the script. So if it was theirs, why would they offer me money?
Exactly.
You see what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? And the next people, investors, 35 million. I can show you the contracts. And then it's gone up to $50 million now. But it's like the James Bond franchise, 50 million for the script. But it's going to make $7 billion. We're in the tech world now,
Yeah.
tech age. It's going to make $7 billion because it has 3 to 4 billion fans globally around the world love Matrix and Terminator. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's very deep.
Well, this is very deep because this is getting close to actual reality. The so-called Mandela effect. The cyborgs, Sophia, the robot, a couple of years ago. Did you see that?
Oh
This,
yeah,
yeah,
Sophia is in.
was
She's in the area of
Sophia.
Saudi. They named her in honor of me. They know I'm the one that wrote the Matrix and Terminator. The Sheikh and the sultans and everybody of the government. The Illuminati's, Masons. Do you know the phone calls I've gotten? I even gotten a phone call from Governor Schwarzenegger when he was governor of California, offering me $5 million for the Terminator copyrights, which I had to turn him down. And he was livid. He started cursing and everything. And I told him, I said, look, he said, well, what do you want? We'll give you whatever you want. What do you want? You know what I told him? The very line that he had in Ends of Days when they cloned him. Now, that's my word, cloning. When they cloned him, I said to him, his very line out of the movie, I want my life back because it's stolen identity. You can steal my purse, like Shakespeare says, but my good name you cannot abuse, slander, and abuse. I'm a principled person. I come from a military law enforcement family. Strong, very strong.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, I'm very impressed by your focus on the whole thing.
Well, I got a degree in journalism, like I told you, a bachelor's degree, and I went to grad school, USC, and City University of New York. So I've always been very well educated, come from a well educated family members, family with members that have degrees and law enforcement and military, including wives and stuff. I was the only one that did not join the military, but I did used to work for the government.
In what way?
Well, I'm not going to say, but I worked as a teenager for the government and I scored a 98 on the IRS exam and they wanted me to come and work for them. I was doing taxes when I was 11 years old, getting paid like H&R Block before they were ever heard of because grown people didn't know how to do taxes. And so I was paid to do their taxes. And I was doing payroll when I was a teenager for a construction company where I created the adults' paychecks. So I was well versed in numbers.
The thing which, from a basis point of view, is concerned. I mean, I've got some logos here. You can't see them. Well, you can see some of them. They've been making cyborgs here. They've been taking reverse engineering things. The in vitro fertilization was invented not to help infertile couples, but to make the transgenic beings for, quote, the Britain's lunar base.
I
So,
understand that because I was talking about it like I told you.
yeah.
When you get my book, and I'm going to give you a copy when this interview is over. I'm going to send you a copy of the Matrix One, the ebook, both of them, and you can see in 1980 I'm talking about what they're going to do in the future with these clones and these microchips and these and the cyborgs. But this is the deal: they cannot put human tissues inside of metal.
Yeah. That
They're
was the
still
problem. I
off.
was just trying
They're
to. I've got a lot of these books behind me. I was just trying to find Andrew Power's book, who was very struck by the Matrix when he became an Illuminati by graduation and by learning. And he wrote this book, Ireland, Land of the Pharaohs. But a lot of it is all Matrix.
Oh
This is
yeah,
very
exactly.
important. I mean, this is way above movies. You've really struck on something huge, which is
Oh, I
impacting
know.
us now. The
Yeah, but let
5G
me.
cyborg agenda, robots everywhere.
Yeah, but see, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That is not what sunk the Titanic. It was what was underneath. not the tip of the iceberg, but what was under the mass underneath is what sunk the Titanic. And so I'm going into hologram clones and I'm going into virtual penal systems. I'm going into stuff that you guys have no idea about. They haven't stolen any of it out of my Matrix 4 book because they can't even articulate it.
Well,
They don't even know what the
you've
hell I'm
talked to
talking
Duncan.
about.
I mean, I've been speaking to Duncan, the grid keeper, and Tim Refat. Have you been talking with about that?
Right, go on. Have I been talking to them about it?
Yeah.
I've done it on interviews. If you go on YouTube, you can actually hear me explaining all of this new technology that's in Matrix 4 that's phenomenal. And the Third Eye Matrix book, they still haven't tapped that yet. They still do not know what the hell I'm speaking about. And they've read the book because it's so advanced. It's 40 years ahead of everybody.
Well,
Look,
this is exactly what I'm interested in, and that
yeah,
those
well,
concepts, reality management systems, computers, and artificial intelligence being another consciousness from other dimensional domains, accessing our consciousness. Does that is that the kind of stuff?
I am talking about that in greater because that's why the Illuminatis are fans of mine. Leo Zagami calls me from Rome. The Rothschilds are fans of mine. Celebrities are fans of mine because everybody is a big Matrix and Terminator buffs. They're fans. I mean, it's huge because it's futuristic work. Cameron lied. Gail Ann Hurd lied. Andy and Larry Wachowski lied. That's why you can't get an interview with them because they can't talk to you about this stuff. I can break this stuff down
Well, this is
for
exactly
you.
what I'm interested in because this is stuff I've directly experienced. Some of the stuff I've done is in the independent broadcasting side of things, reality management, consciousness accessing computers systems being conscious devices, but who's actually really controlling them? We have lost control of ourselves, somebody once quoted.
Well, they've lied to you. The Mandela effect used to be the butterfly
Yeah, the
effect.
butterfly.
I,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, let me tell you something that will blow your mind. Some producers from Hollywood, they called me up. They were talking to me, and they said, Sophia, did you see in the news? They're talking about the computers now. They're talking to each other, and they have created a new language. You know what I said to them? I said, that's the old 1970 Colossus movie that's in color.
Yeah.
You think I'm joking? I said, let me pull it up for you real quick and let me send you over the plot. And I said, and here's the movie. Go look at the movie and look at it. They were like floored. Then they said something else to me. They said, well, Miley Cyrus, she created twerking the butt. I said they were twerking their butts before the late John Kennedy died in 1963. I said, go look at the color movie with the star Stewart Granger, 1962, called Sodoma and Gomorrah movie. The girls in there are twerking their butts to the kings and the queens and the dignitaries. They were blown away. I say, they've been lying to you guys. They've been creating all of this fantastic stuff from old movies.
Yeah.
And you guys don't know about it because my mom was taking me to the movies when I was a baby.
I mean, it's like Buck Rogers, the 22nd century, black and white, 1939. It's basically Star Trek in the 1960s.
Exactly. I can tell where everything was stolen from, what movie it was stolen from, what period, because I was watching silent films. I was watching all because I was a big movie buff because of my mom. My mom even took all the neighborhood kids to the movies. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up in that whole era of knowing.
But where did
So
that
you can't
material
fool
come
me.
from? 1930s, 1920s. They knew stuff then. There was stuff in books they don't like even
Well,
having
they
now.
were just like myself. I'm a visionary. The stuff that you're going to read in the Third Eye Matrix that you saw in the Terminator and the Matrix, that stuff that comes to visionaries like Tesla.
Yes.
Tesla's information doesn't come from a book. Tesla's the one writing the book. I write the book. The book
Yes.
doesn't write me. The book doesn't teach me. I'm teaching the book so it can teach others. We writers and visionaries, we create this work, and this is how it progresses civilization. Somebody has to progress civilization. You can't stay the same. God says everything must change. Change is about continuation, a complete cycle, a currency.
I mean, British Telecom way back in the late 1990s was talking about Soul Catcher, the Soul Catcher program, and the putting nanobots into people's minds so they could all be recorded and then they would live on.
They're telling a lot of lies, and it's good what you make good movies called fantasy movies. But to tamper with a physical brain is to damage the brain. Now, you could put a chip in
No,
the
I agree.
brain.
I agree. And then we have the 2045 agenda. They want to make us into cyborgs sticking iPhones inside our brains.
No, that's lies. That's fantasy. All they're going to do is kill you.
Well, I know
That's all
that.
they're going to
I
do
know that, but
is
that's
going
what
to
they're
kill you.
saying. That's what they're saying.
Well, they're lying. Let me just put it like that. They're telling people lies. Because the only thing you can put, and I'm talking in Matrix 4 book, I'm talking about this, that is a microchip the size of a pinhead. The size of a pinhead, they can insert it in the brain and they can LoJack you with that. That's a LoJack. That means that when you become a criminal, they'll put that chip in you. They'll wheel you in on a gurney. It'll be in-house, outpatient. You
Yeah.
won't have to go to the hospital. They will insert it in there and they will let you go. Now the satellites, VI satellites, can track your every movement.
Yes. Yeah.
And the correction officer and the probation officer and the parole officers are watching you VI satellites. And the satellites is tracking your every movement. And the satellite will zoom in and videotape you killing somebody, robbing, or stealing. This is in Matrix 4 book.
Yeah.
Then they will send a drone transporter to go pick you up. Now the drones are little now, but I talk about how they're going to be big because I'm the one that came out with the drones and the hologram clones and the cyborgs and all of this stuff. So they're going to send a drone transporter, and it's big now. It's huge. The drones are. They're not no longer. It's no cars. A car that's have no driver.
Yeah. Autonomous
A
vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is stuff my work.
Yeah.
Okay, the drone will come, open up like a giant claw, suck you in, and take you back to Homeland Security. And then when you come back to Homeland Security this time, they'll wheel you in on the gurney and they will put these virtual rings around you, white virtual rings, one around each arm. They're lasers around your body that goes scan up and down. And they will let you go because this is the new prison system. Because in the future, they can no longer afford to house you, clothe you, feed you, health care, guards. So this is the new prison for the future, a virtual penal system where these white rings around you, you're walking around in general population, you're at the mall, and you can talk to people. People ignore you, or they can respond back. The moment you snatch a purse, it activates the ring, it cuts your hand off, and it also heals the wound because it's a laser.
Yeah.
You try to run from Homeland Security and the police or the SWAT, cut your legs off or your feet off. If you try to do capital punishment where you kill somebody, it will activate the rings to cut your head off. Because in the future, you become your own judge, jury, and executioner if you can't behave yourself. Now, this is what I'm talking about. And this was written 9 years ago. It's been out.
What about
9 years.
the concept of basically sticking a brain into a machine and that runs a spacecraft?
That is a lie. It's a lie. You cannot put a living brain inside of a metal container. It has to be in fluid. I studied to be a doctor also,
Yeah.
as well as an attorney, and I have a gift in those areas. A brain has to be in a vat. like it has to be a liquid, and it has to be where it is receiving energy to stay alive.
Like in
Can't
future,
stay
like Futurama.
That's right. It
Yeah.
can't stay alive in an empty metal container. It'll dry up and die. It will not be. Now, you like in the Matrix, I'm showing that the brain can send impulses to the metal and make the metal react, like aneurysm. Like an aneurysm, like the brain can send an impulse to the metal and the metal will move. It's called like telepathy and telekinesis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about? That kind of stuff.
But
Where
it
you can
can't.
use telepathy and you can use telekinetic energy to make the metal move and make the metal react because you're seeing it uh, communications by telepathy. You can do that. Now that's possible. But this other stuff they're talking about is absolutely a lie.
In other words, Elon Musk and a couple of others are talking about, I think, a company called Neurotech, where they've got a company that will interface the nervous system with technology.
I tell you, they cannot do it. They're telling a lie. And you see,
Yeah.
they have never talked to me because I'm the Matrix and Terminator
Yeah.
writer
No, and
and
there's.
creator.
Are you aware of
And
the Russians 2045.com? There's a Russian based bunch of scientists talking about avatars, humans existing as avatars in a computer matrix.
they're lying about that because Avatar, do you know what an avatar is?
Yeah.
An avatar is a possessed body. That's all it is. You possessing somebody's body. And it used to be called demon possession,
Yeah.
where somebody comes in and occupy your body. You know how they would occupy your body? The demon possession would have to take place if you gave it permission. And what did you do to give it permission? If you got drunk off of alcohol
Yeah.
and you blanked out and you found yourself locked up the next morning, you wake up in jail and they tell you you just killed somebody. And you say, no, I didn't do anything. I don't have any memory except when I was drinking. Well, that demon possessed your body, took the car, killed somebody, and left you to suffer.
What
It's
about
the
the?
same thing with drugs. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's the same with drugs. You just saw on television here in America, you can look it up, Google it. A lady went into a car rental place, and she stole the car and took off. And she's caught on video because everything is videoed down, camera down. And the media was asking her, interviewing her, and say, well, hey, why did you do that? Why did you steal the car? She said, because a demon told me to steal the car. That means that whatever's controlling her, she's lost her free will. And that's what alcohol and drugs and lust and everything that becomes your master, it and cocaine, usage, it takes your will. God gave us free will. So if we don't want to participate in a killing, we could say no. If we don't want to go and rob somebody, we could just say no. Even if somebody threatens to kill us or harm our family, we can still just depend on God and say no. And God will work it out where we will not be harmed. But most people fear. Fear is false evidence appearing as real. And people believe that. And they say, well, you know what? I did it because I was afraid. It's called duress. When people put you under
It's
duress.
being tricked to give our permissions away. So we we are tricked by something, and then we give permission. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly what's going on here. That's what's going on globally around the world. No one can steal your free will. God told you that. But whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. He told you that's your free will. But the man that's doing the evil on the earth, he knows he can't steal your free will, but he can trick you. He can deceive you into giving up your free will and doing exactly what he wants. And what does he use to do that? He controls the media. All
Yeah.
the studios control the media. And the man that controls the media, what does he do? He can tell you what to eat, what to buy, how to think, and what you should do. He makes a slave out of you. Look at the movie They, which they Got right out of my book. That's why you never seen another one. It's showing you the billboards. In the Bible, it tells you that the devil, which is the word ebonically for
You're talking
the
about the movie
evil,
They Live. They Live.
that's right, they
Yeah,
live, came right out of my book.
that's a
It's
very
talking
prophetic
about,
movie.
yeah, well, you never seen any more of it. Do you know why you never seen any more? But why would someone that writes something like that never write again? I have
Why?
nothing else. A one time, because they got it out of my Third Eye Matrix book. Because I'm explaining it to you right now, the work, because it's my work. What I was saying, and when you go and read the Third Eye book, you're going to say, oh my God, I know a lot of movies that came out of this book. I can't wait. Because they stole logos, they stole the red and the blue pill right in the book. You know what I'm talking about? Graphics, special effects, all in the book. But anyway, let's go to They Live. They Live is talking about in the Matrix. I'm talking about the programming. They're programming you with billboards and the airwave because the evil, the devil uses the airwave. He's the prince of the airwave. And what is the airwave? Oh yeah, it's magazines, newspaper, television, internet. You know what I'm talking about? It's billboards, posters, everything that the brain looks at and can conceive is it the brain is being programmed and deprived of its free will, and you're not even aware of it because you know why? You think these eyes are the ones that tells you everything. No, it is the brain that is telling everything. They can fool your eyes. They can create a GMO, a genetic modified organism, and make it look like a steak, like the way Cypher was. When he knew it wasn't a steak, he was eating mush, but he wanted to believe the lie. So he was killing everybody that was coming unplugged and wanted to know the truth because he took the blue pill. He wanted to stay asleep and be a part of the corruption and the lie. Because they can right now create a ribeye and make you think you're eating a ribeye and you're eating probably a human being. But they can add the coloring, they can add the shape. You've seen it before with the eggs in the lab.
Yep.
And look, your eyes are seeing the GMO, but your brain and your body is rejecting it because it's like, oh no, you're not supposed to be eating this. And your brain can operate and function with the eyes and say, that is not a steak. Because a lot of people have seen that. They'd say, no, that is not an apple, that is not an orange. And anything that's seedless is soulless because everything God created had a soul or seed. We have seeds that have babies so we can continue the cycle of life. It's called an atom, ATOM, not an Adama, but an ATOM. Now, what man wants to do, because he's jealous of God's children, he wants to destroy the cycle of life because a cyborg can't have a baby. So there's 3,000 cyborgs that these Asians have married over in Japan or China.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
It's
nothing but
obscene.
it's nothing but your big blow up doll that you're masturbating with, and you're throwing away seeds. You're emptying your seeds, your ejaculation inside of an artifice because it's an artificial cup. And you're being manipulated and jerked off like a vibrator.
This is like the
A
Stepford
vibra-
Wives, but it's a version of that.
well, yeah, in the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
The Body Snatchers was all about killing living beings because when you have a seed and a soul, go back to the old black and white Body Snatcher, go back and look at it. What happened was they would clone the bodies and they would kill the souls. And they couldn't do it all because you're seeing the outer package. So now they can't tell the difference between a clone and a soul. So what do? There's a big crowd gathered around, and somebody's up on top of the building, and they jump off of the building. Well, we're with the living soul. We're going to scream, "Oh my God!" We're going to react. We have emotions because the soul has love, compassion. The other ones will stand there and not do anything or say jump, jump, because there's no emotions. Do you understand?
Yeah.
When you look at the old black and white body snatchers of the Stephen's wife, they got the clones. And look at cloning. Let me teach you what cloning is. Do you know what cloning is? Do you know what it is? Have anyone ever taught you what cloning is?
Well, it's taking a cell, reproducing it, and mimicking a.
Yeah, but do you know how it grows? Let me explain to you.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
you go on YouTube and you look at the 60 minutes on the horse. What happens is the polo player comes in with some DNA. That's all you need is some DNA. And he gives it to the scientist or the doctor, and the doctor injects the DNA with a syringe into a egg. You take the syringe, you inject that DNA in that egg. You take the egg and you go find a womb, a matrix. If it's a female horse, you put the egg to grow inside of the female horse matrix, her womb. She's a surrogate. And so the horse grows and come out of her, and he's a full bred clone. It's the same process with the sheep. You take the female sheep, you put that injected DNA in an egg and put it inside of her. You've grown a clone. And also with living beings,
Humans.
you
Yeah.
take their, that's right, the living human beings, you take their DNA, take the syringe, put it in an egg, put it inside of the woman's womb, because this is why God says all those who open up the matrix are mine, because in the matrix, you are giving a soul, a seed. So when you see seedless grapes and seedless oranges and seedless watermelon and seedless everything, they are GMOs that were created by man, living organisms that were created by man. And that's why they said that they didn't have to grow any more former foods. They need the formers because they're going to give you these GMOs, genetically modified organisms that has no seed, no soul. They're soulless. And this is what's killing you because it's not real.
Yes.
Now let's go back to the cloning. The horse is grown in the womb, comes out like a real baby, grows up, but this is the difference. All the clones, it's 100 and some horses. And this is something very important that you need to understand. When it's a copy, because that's what a clone is, a copy of the original source. And all of them, they have different patches on them. They're not identical. They may have a white patch of the horse on its head. It may have it on its leg. It may have it on its butt. But this is one thing that you know when you see clones. Say it's 10 of the horses. They're all in the field and they're feeding. Well, when one looks over here, all of them look to the right. When one looks to the left, all of them look to the left. When one does something, all of them mimic. And you got to see this because you're a very
Is that
intelligent
because
man.
the mind of you've split the mind, this original soul's been split.
Well, they have no soul. A clone has no
But
soul.
the
It's a copy.
whatever the mind works from in whatever external to 3D, there must
Well,
be a link.
the mind is nothing but spirit. Listen, let me break down
Okay, what's the difference between what
God's
are you
children.
the difference between
Let
spirit and
me
soul?
let me break down
Okay,
the 3D. Let's go to the reason why.
I mean we're
Uh,
12-dimensional beings. Yeah.
yeah, well, no, we're three-dimensional beings, and God's children are 3D. And let me explain why they're three-dimensional beings. Because the mother eats from the earth, from the dirt of the earth, and it goes inside of her womb. And her womb is water, so we're hybrids. We are of the air, and we are of the water. And we're eating from the dirt of the earth to create our bodies. So when this is at the first 10 weeks, you're nothing but blood, water, and spirit. There's a spirit waiting in the astral form, waiting to occupy that body that the mother is creating.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the abortion becomes illegal, and they don't teach you this.
Yeah, this
But
is
let
very crucial.
for
Yeah.
very crucial. Listen to me very carefully. For the first 11 weeks, it's like a period. Is blood, water, and spirit. You can't destroy spirit because it's an astral form. It's a shadow. Like in the Matrix, it's called a virtual image because I introduced the first virtual images to you guys. And so it's a shadow. And you saw their virtual images running up and down the telephone line while their physical bodies were asleep in the ship. Now let's go back to the mother. The astral body is waiting to be born in the body. Now, at 12 weeks, the soul comes and attached. Here's the astral body. Here's the physical body that takes 36 weeks and 9 months. And here's the soul that attaches to the body. Now, the astral body is there because it's the shadow, the virtue. It's there. It's what you call the mind. It's
Okay.
there. But the soul is the living energy that comes from the source, which is God, which is life. And it attaches to that body. Now that life is in that body now. So when a doctor performs an abortion at 12 weeks, he's killing a living soul because life is attached.
And it also
That means
damages it
that baby
damages
is
the
ready to
soul.
come out.
It damages the soul when it wants to then try and live again.
Well, he destroyed the soul from coming in to do its job. Because an abortion, you're taking the stem cells from the baby's bodies that you're killing with the abortions, and you're using these stem cells. When a person can use their own stem cells to heal any and everything on their bodies, it's just like you're taking blood transfusion from somebody else. When God says, no, don't take that blood because you're going to take on the characteristics of that blood. If that blood is a hemophiliac, if that blood is AIDS in it, if that blood has other deadly diseases or DNA, you have already taken possession of that. When you could store your own blood, because you know you're going to have an operation, put it on there so whenever it's an emergency, you have your own blood ready to be flown out to wherever you are in an accident. Because this is why God didn't want anyone to eat of the blood, because you take on the characteristic of that blood
Yeah.
and whatever it's tainted with. And they just do things lazy. Man is just lazy and they're liars. They could tell you the truth like I'm telling the truth. Because if they tell you the truth, you can say, you know what, I don't care. I want to do it anyway. Well, fine.
Then
You're
you've made a
responsible.
decision then.
Yeah, because no one can take your free will. God is upset about man lying and taking your choices, deceiving you into something. And if you knew the truth, you said, oh my God, I could have done something else. I didn't have to do that. The doctor or the scientist or man lied to me. I didn't even know I had another choice. They take your choice by deceiving you and say, well, you know what? If you don't get this blood transfusion with somebody else's blood, you're going to perish. That's in for you.
Yeah. And the cancers that they're giving us with chemicals and all that sort of stuff.
They're doing a lot of wicked things here, and man needs to wake up. This is why God had me to write The Matrix and the Terminator to wake you guys up to truth. These people that stole the work is trying to put you to sleep. Look at Matrix 2 and 3. Look at Terminator 4, 5, 4, 5 Genesis and all that. Look at the Wachowski's real work, Jupiter Ascending. That's not anybody that wrote The Matrix and Terminator. A person that wrote The Matrix and Terminator would not create any garbage like that. With Tatum
Yeah.
Cannon
Yeah.
flying around in little wings and the other guy, the Oscar winner, screaming.
Where is
That doesn't
this
make any
all going?
sense.
Okay, you're, as a visionary, we can now see that these cyborgs and robots are being made. Where autonomous vehicles, 5G, this new technology that's going to be the internet of everything. They're going to wire, they're going to have the most
It,
toxic.
it it's going exactly where I showed you in the Terminator, where they will
I mean, that's what that's for.
where they
It
will
kills human flesh.
enslave mankind, excuse me, where they will enslave mankind. Because if you did you see the first Terminator?
Yes.
Do you know what it was about? Let me explain to you. The Terminators heard the oracle's prophecy that a baby is going to be born that's going to destroy them in the future when they enslave mankind. So the Terminators time traveled to the past looking for Sarah Connor because they know
Yeah.
Sarah Connor is the one. Sarah Connor is Neo's mother. Sarah Connor is Neo's mother. Go back and look at the Terminator. The Terminator time travel. He comes from a burning portal. He's a machine. He's a cyborg. He's wrapped in flesh. He's naked without shame because he's a machine. He has no soul. He doesn't know he's naked. But what happens? Somebody tells him to put some clothes on. He's got to fit in because he's looking to kill her. What happens? Kyle Reese time travel also to come to try to save her from the Terminators. And what does he do? He gets her pregnant, the Immaculate Conception, and then he has to go back to the future because he can't stay in the past. He comes from the future. So he leaves, and now she's pregnant. And the baby, the Terminator's trying to kill the baby, the boy. He looks unisex. He's got long hair. He's got an earring on. Because in the future, I knew that boys and girls were going to be looking the same, and you couldn't tell the difference. Because he's hidden on paper as a girl. They're looking for the one, Neo, the one. So JC, John Connor's Jesus Christ, grew up to be Neo, one and the same. Then look at the second Terminator. He's consciously, because I wrote the evolutions of consciousness, he's consciously asleep. So he doesn't even know, why is this Terminator trying to kill me? But there's a Terminator coming to try to save him. And then he goes on and he's hidden in the future. Where? In the Matrix, the future. He's hidden because the machines, what are they still doing? The agents, they're going here, there, everywhere, looking for male children, indigo kids, the little boy bending the spoon, the kids with the oracles, they're indigos, and
Yes.
they have these gifts like the Christ child.
Yes.
So they're looking for Neo. And so he's hidden right in plain sight under their nose, right in the cities. But wait, he reaches the age of 30 years of age, the rebellion reloaded, revolution starts. The rebels come and they inform him that he's the one. They got to take him to the Oracle. They got to take him to Morpheus so he can learn to fight. Do you see what I'm talking
Yes.
about?
Yeah.
But he's a hacker because they called Jesus a hacker. Remember, they called him a thief. And what did Jesus have to do? He had to go to John the Baptist, didn't he? To be cleansed. Because what did he do? He goes through the pod. His human side dies. His spiritual side is born. He is ascended into his light body. He's flying, but he's not Superman. But he's flying, remember?
Yeah.
That is called ascension. It defies gravity. Now his body, he can do all kinds of things because gravity cannot prevent him from doing what he needs to do. He's able to dodge bullets. He's able to touch a mirror and go into other dimensions. He's able to take matter into antimatter, which is Dr. Smith, because he's a machine. He's a virus. And what does this matter do? It destroys antimatter, because if you take matter into antimatter, it blows it up when the two touches.
Yeah.
It's just like this. There's only one battery that's propelling your car. You go to your car, you lift up the hood, you see a battery. There's only one battery, one energy that's propelling the car. But let's look at the battery. It has a positive post and it has a negative post. And what does that teach you? It tells you how energy flows, right to left, left to right. But when your car is driving in smoothly, it's because of the positive energy. When your car is breaking down and burning up, it's because of the negative energy. But if you put a
short circuit.
No, when you're gonna charge your battery.
Yeah. Okay.
The cable is to charge the battery. If they touch, it's gonna blow you up or burn the car up.
Yeah.
It's gonna electrocute you.
Yeah.
Because you can't put the positive to touch the negative. It's matter and antimatter. This is what NASA scientists were talking about.
Yeah.
When you go past the radial belt, on that side of the belt is antimatter. On this side of the belt, where we are in physical matter, every time something bumps into the earth, it blows up, and you see the little shard pieces that hit the earth called meteorites.
Yes.
meaning that nothing can come in to harm us and no one can leave out to harm the outside, the galaxies, the space.
Are you saying that we can't leave the Earth? The moon stuff was
The only thing you can do is circle the space around the Earth. And I'm telling you the absolute truth. If
okay.
the belt
Why?
is there,
Why? Why? I mean, I've heard this from others. Do you want some water?
let me. No, I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll get my bodyguard to give me some.
Okay.
Listen very carefully. Whoever told you this, the people told the truth. If the belt is around the Earth, protecting the Earth, and
The
something bumps into
Van Allen belt, or
the Van Allen belt, is
yeah,
what it's called.
yeah,
But I'm just going to call it a belt. But it is the
yeah,
Van Allen
yeah,
belt, is what it's recognized as. Just say hypothetically that belt protects the Earth because the Earth, the air you're breathing, the sun that comes up every morning, the water and the fire, all of these are living elements that prove that God exists. So the atheist, all he sees is technology. He thinks
yeah.
technology is greater than these gifts. But believe me, man can't put a switch on it. If he could, you would surely die if you couldn't pay for it.
Well,
It's free.
that's what Tesla was going to give us. Yeah,
Well, Tesla gave it to us,
yeah, but
but
yeah,
man is using Thomas Edison's direct current to pull the switch on you for the artificial electric in your
yes, yeah,
house. He has not put a switch on of the things I just named: the sun, the land, which is earth, the air, the water, the fire. He hasn't put no switch on that. He just put the switch on all the artificial stuff that is technology. That's all. Now let's go back to the Van Allen belt, like I was
yeah,
explaining to you. That belt was created by God to protect the earth. So when people lie and say, well, you know what, this planet is going to come and it's going to destroy the earth, oh, some stars are going to hit the earth, or whatever, it's all a lie because the earth is protected. The only thing that's leaving here, go back in history, you're intelligent. The only thing that has ever left the earth are people. Everything they used to own or what they used to wear or what they used to do is still here. Some of their skeletons aren't even found. But their artifacts, their buildings, their shrines, it's either under the water or it's on the earth.
yeah,
Every so often it pops up from underneath so people can say, wow, we didn't know that was down there and it was another civilization here on the earth.
yeah.
Well, the only thing that's going on here is people coming in and leaving. That's all you can do. You come in through the womb and then you leave by going back to the dirt where you came from. And your soul goes back to God, which is the living energy. And the astral body just waits for another vehicle. The astral body is a virtue image waiting for another entry into the earth. That's all. And so man didn't go to any moon. Man is very good with Hollywood and movies. And this is why Hollywood didn't go to jail. Remember, you kept on saying, well, why aren't they prosecuted? They killed people. They prostituted. They did pedophilism. They done all kind of deviant things. Well, they used to work for the government to do propaganda. And
Yeah.
what was the propaganda? They would create all these propaganda movies making you think they went to the moon. But you saw the truth because there was no air blowing the flag. There was no um, marks of the actual ship, where the backfire of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ship, where it's burnt
I
out
mean,
on the land.
even the Chinese thing, they couldn't get the two shadows to work right. So the Earth rise and the China and the with the Chinese lander a few months ago, they got that wrong as well.
See?
Yeah,
Yeah, because man is always going to make a mistake where you can catch him if you pay attention. But if you're quick to believe the lie, then you want to believe the lie. You're like Cypher. You want to be blue pilled instead of red pill. Red pill is wanting to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. I always tell people you don't got to believe anything I say. Go and find out for yourself. That way nobody can ever lie to you. Because it's all about finding and digging up truth and going and Googling and researching and doing your own thing. So you don't have to follow anybody. You don't have to believe anybody. I'm not here to make atheists into believers. I'm not here to lead you anywhere or take you or try to change your mind. I'm not here to take your free will from you. All I'm trying to do is get you to see the truth. The man is a liar. He really is. I'm sorry. And there's only one thing going on here. God says there can only be one. Either you believe the truth or you believe the lie. There's nothing else going on here. And everybody that's into truth, they're going to go digging and they're going to be convinced on their own, not by a book, not by a leader, not by a sultan, a president, a czar, a queen, a king, or whatever. You're going to find out the truth on your own. It's your free will. You should care enough about your own free will to keep it.
Now, this is really important right now because those things you're talking about are coming, staring people in the face now. This 5G, these cyborgs, autonomous cars, multiple versions. I think there's 8 sexes now when you apply for a job. There's 8 possible choices of what you could be. I mean,
Well,
what's your
that's all a
message?
lie.
Yeah, but
Let me
I mean,
let me tell you
yeah, but it's
tell
not
you
alive
about that.
when people have to sign these things and they're transgenics. What's the deal here? What is your message about that?
You don't have to participate in anything. Let me tell you, man is not taking your free will from you. You're taking it by deception, deceiving yourself. It's such a thing called denial, self-denial. Look, your body came with a penis or a vagina. And if it didn't come with that, it got corrected. There is no you're born inside of your body, a man or a woman inside of your body. What you're doing is mutilating your body. We're not even supposed to be operating on. Our bodies were never meant to be cut on. We have T cells in our bodies that can heal any and everything by command. You know why doesn't it doesn't see the cancer? Because they don't teach you this one important thing, that cancer is a virus like a cold or like a
Yeah,
flu. Those are viruses. And what happens is the body can't see a virus. It's invisible. When a person has cancer and they go into remission, do you know why they go into remission? They go into remission because some of them get an infection. They get infected, and that infection covers the cancer. It coats it. And then the T cells or the healing cells see the cancer and they come and they eat it up. The reason why they go out of remission because they're still doing the same thing. What was never taught to people is that the colon is the sewer.
yeah.
And people have all these diseases and all these problems because they don't clean their colons. And I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, that's and where our diets and our the way we sit and our posture and lack of water and things, it's it's not
The
good.
water cleans out the canal of the colon tract. And what happens is, I have to explain it to people like this. You got a kitchen, you got a sink. You go in that kitchen, you don't wash your dishes. You just throw them in there with half-eaten food, and then you turn on the water and it gets stopped up, and then there's more water come in there. Then you throw in more dirty dishes with half-eaten food, and then after a while it starts stinking
Yeah,
and it turns black.
mm-hmm.
And then it's all this bacteria start getting in there, and it smells like, excuse my language, the S word.
Yeah,
And then you know what? And then it starts fermenting, and that is what happens. That's when the diseases come in. And this is what happened when people get sick. Now, let me tell you something. I'm My grandmother's full-blooded Cherokee. My grandfather's full-blooded Portuguese. My grandmother was a shaman. I'm a shaman. My grandmother used to give us castor oil. Castor oil would clean your body out. We never had to see a doctor. Do you know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah,
Because it flushed out the whole colon. All these people knew these holistic healthcare 50, 60 years ago
yeah.
that they do not practice anymore.
Well, not
When you go
allowed
into the
to.
hospital,
A lot
yeah,
of people,
well,
if you try alternative methods, that you get prosecuted. It's happening here in England. They're having court cases with people, throwing them in jail if they try methods which aren't chemical from the chemical industry.
Yeah, because
That's
the
the law.
biopharmaceutical company
Yeah,
is making billions of dollars killing you.
yeah, yeah,
The
exactly.
doctors,
Yeah,
they're paying them millions of dollars to push their biopharmaceutical pills on you that is not approved by the FDA, not approved by anybody. And dude, you know what the government says to you? Well, if it does this, this, and that to you, we'll do a class action lawsuit. We'll make them pay billions of dollars instead of putting them in jail. And what happens? How are you going to collect billions of dollars if you're dead?
yeah, exactly.
Or how are you going to be enjoying $20 million and you're incapacitated? And the 20 million is just to keep you alive, but you're not enjoying life.
As they
Why do
say,
you sell out for
there's no
money?
profit in a healthy population.
Well, this is the deal. It's all about free will and choices. They're going to do that. They're not going to stop. But you can do something about it. You, YOU, not others, because we're not copying. But hey, I got free will and I don't want to do that. I'm going to do what I want to do, not what someone is telling me to do, or someone is tricking me into doing, or someone is lying to me about what I should do. You're here to find out the truth. This is your journey. You're here to care about others. So you need to stand up for truth. Look, let's put it like this. You either perish with the lie or you stand up for truth and go on.
Well, let's say amen to
There's
standing
nothing
up with
else going
truth.
on. Yes, there's nothing else going on. There's nothing else going on. You choose today what master you're going to serve. Do you want to serve the truth and go on and find out how deep the rabbit hole goes? Or do you want to take the blue pill and stop and just perish? Believe the lie, deceive yourself. You know what I'm talking about? That's left up to you. It's a choice.
Well,
I'm not here to make your choices.
in closing, um, tell me all about your books. How many are there? Just for somebody who doesn't know, just imagine this is the first time, and where can they get them?
Yeah, my books are available on my website, truthaboutmatrix.com or matrixterminator.com. Amazon for people in the foreign countries. Go to amazon.com and get your books. There's several of them on there. Or you can go to my website. And people in Atlanta, Georgia, you can get a physical books right in a Medu bookstore, MEDU. Or you can do online, on demand ordering. You can order from Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, uh, Nook Press, and I have ebooks if you want ebooks, digital books, or if you want physical books. You know what I'm saying?
And
All
yeah,
available.
finally, what about this court case, which is, they've mentioned? Is there any relevance to that anymore?
My court case, I won already. I own
Yeah.
the Matrix and Terminator movie franchise. I've been owning it for 5 years. It was a old California case that got dismissed that have no relevancy because all they were doing was trying to keep out of jail because I had a RICO and they needed my own lawyers to come in and sabotage that case. But in Utah, I got the justice. I got the copyrights to everything. The government had to give me all the copyrights. I own everything. And this third case that I have right now in Nevada that I just won this default judgment on March the 5th, 2019, it was all about the continuation of stealing. I got tired of these people continuing to steal and the government not protecting my rights. Every man, like under the Constitution, we all have to get up. We all have to fight and protect our properties. That's why the Constitution say we must always bear arms in case these people get so crooked that we have to do something about
Well,
it.
there's a lot of crooked people around at the moment.
Well, we don't want to be enslaved.
Yeah.
We don't want to be enslaved. And you have a right to always stand up for your rights. The Constitution is about life, liberty, and the happiness, life, liberty, happiness, and the pursuit of happiness. It's about that.
Well, you've got my attention. You have a woman with focus and attitude, and the whole vision that you've given to the world is immense, a huge contribution to the entire existence of life here. It's a huge contribution. I thank you so much for this.
Well, it was meant to shift the conscious of the world, not to put people to sleep. When God says that there is no end, this is just the beginning, that life is a complete cycle that begins again and again, and there's never any end to it. Where they try to reverse the message on Matrix 2 and 3 and talking about everything to have a beginning, have an end. That's talking about artificial intelligence killing, dying out, that the living beings with souls would die out. That's a lie. Life is perpetuated. It's never ending. It's just a cycle that continues. That's why the atom is round, the earth is round, and all the stuff that you see is a cycle, a circle, the oceans. You can see this when you're on a yacht and you're in the sea. It's going around. You're not falling off the earth. You're going around. You see the evolutions. You see the cycles. Winter, fall, summer, spring. You see what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? And life begins again in spring.
Well, thank you. This has been amazing. I'm very honored, and everybody else is as well. You're
You're
fantastic,
welcome.
and I'm so happy that you're right on track. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. You're welcome. Enjoyed it very much.
Thank you.